Hello and welcome to this tutorial on blueprints in Crayta. A blueprint is essentially a starter template that means we don't have to start from scratch every time we want to make a game. It allows us as a creator to fast forward to the most fun and creative aspects of game development. So essentially, you'll find that some blueprints have a little bit of game logic to make sure that you are starting with what is a game, but in a very bare bones way. So you can add your theme, your meshes, you can design your levels, and you can add a little bit of your own game logic on top without having to worry about starting from scratch every single time you want to make a game. To get to the blueprints, first of all, we need to go to our menu here by pressing Escape on the keyboard, go to the Create tab. And within here, you'll see you have a couple of options at the top, create a new game or remix a game. Now I'm going to click on create a new game and you'll see that the background image, it sort of looks a bit like what you might expect a blueprint to look like. So that's how we know we're navigating to the blueprints. So I'm going to click on that, create a new game. And here we are, we have our list of blueprints. Now the first sort of chunk of blueprints here are the official ones. And these are the most popular games that you'll see on Crayta. So originally the starter templates, but now they're part of this list of blueprints. And you can see things like an adventure game, which means you run around and collect things and you can sell them in the shop. The obstacle course, where you have to just dodge things or you die. And then you're trying to get the best time in that kind of game. Or maybe one of the games involving guns, like the survival gun game or team elimination game, all of which already have the gun package installed. They already have spawn points ready to go, rounds, scoreboards, everything. So you'll see that there's these sort of official blueprints here. And then after these, you might see some which have got the tutorial in the name. And these relate to the tutorials on our companion site. So if I minimize this and head over to developer.crayta.com/Crayta-tutorials, and here we can see we have some written tutorials like this one here, which is on using events. And these link to those blueprints, some of those blueprints that you'll see. So here you can see if I was to follow this along, then I might be learning something about events. And that ties in nicely with this, where is it? Here, basic tutorials event blueprint over here. So there are some blueprints which relate to those tutorials, and the tutorial will tell you specifically which blueprint you need. Alongside the official blueprints and these tutorial blueprints, you'll also find blueprints created by our community. And so these will be all sorts of different things. They might have a level already designed, but waiting for you to add the game logic. They might have the game logic, but need you to go in and design a level for it to work in. Or they might have a little bit of both, and you can go in and customize it to your heart's content. Let's now have a look at creating our own blueprint. So to make your own blueprint, firstly, you need to start making a game. And we're already in the place to do that in this Create tab here. So you can click on Create and then you can either create a new game or remix a game. Doesn't matter which one if you want to make a blueprint. And then you want to choose one of these blueprints to start with. And it could be that you start with a completely empty one, or it could be you start with one of these. For example, I might start with an adventure blueprint. And I might want to be adding some other mechanic to the adventure game and turn it into a new blueprint, which is actually what I've done. So from this step, you would create a new game by clicking the Create a New Game button here, and then it would launch you into the game. I'm going to just skip that step and pretend that we've gone through the process of creating a new game. And I've gone in here and I've essentially split up the terrain into 4 different sections in the adventure template. And then I've added portals so that they can teleport the player from one section of terrain to another. So I'm still keeping it very bare bones. And what I'm hoping is that I've just added a little bit of logic, and I'm hoping that people might want to use this as a way to explore the adventure game genre in a new way by teleporting between different sites rather than running to them. So I've added a little bit of game logic, and I would say that it's quite important if you're making a blueprint to try and keep things as clear as possible. People using your blueprint may be using Crayta for the very first time. So you have to get in your mindset to think about those kinds of players. Make it as easy as possible for anyone to dive in and use your blueprint. Think about things like naming things appropriately, laying out your world tree in a nice way, and if you do any coding, make sure to add things like tooltips to your properties so that when someone comes in and, I don't know, wants to change some feature of these, they can hover over the tooltip and get instructions on what things do. Once you've done that sort of work as well, you might also want to consider some kind of documentation. And there's some really good examples already available. If I go over to forum.crayta.com and look at the game releases, I can see that Sovereign Games have released a simulator blueprint, and they've documented the whole thing really nicely here, so that if I came in completely not knowing what to do in this simulator blueprint and wanted to make a simulator game, I could go through this tutorial they've written up and learn all about it. And then if I'm still stuck, go onto the Discord and ask any questions in the Ask Anything channel. So once you have your support in place to help your players, your creators take your blueprint and go one step further, and you've created your blueprint and it's ready to go, it's time to publish it as a blueprint. To do that, I'm going to press Escape, go to the Create tab again, and let's look at Sky Adventure, which was the name of the blueprint that I'm creating. So I'm going to click on that, which is the name of the game that I'm currently editing right now. And I'm going to click on this Publish as Blueprint button. It'll ask you to make sure that you agree to the terms of service here, and then to name the blueprint name. So this is going to be called Adventure Portal template.
You can say things like, hey portal.
That's my portal. And the game description, so a description of what this blueprint's going to do. So essentially, just going to get rid of that superfluous word and choose a cover image. I'm going to keep that one. And then select some supporting images, add some tags. Remember to add as many tags as you can to help people discover your blueprint. And then click Publish or Publish Blueprint. There we go. So my blueprint has now been published, and I'll be able to see that in my blueprints here in my Create menu. So we can see my blueprints. I've got one, and that's the Adventure Portal template. And if I go to Create and go to Create a New Game, clicking on the Blueprint button there, I should be able to see that here in the Blueprints list. And there you go. So that's a starting point on how to use blueprints, which are themselves a starting point. So that's good, isn't it? Yeah, let me know how you get on with blueprints. If you get stuck, don't forget the Discord is there to always help out, discord.gg/Crayta. You can go in there and ask things in the Ask Anything channel. There are no stupid questions. And make some blueprints and tell people about them and see what you can inspire in other creators. And I look forward to using some of your blueprints when I make my next game in Crayta.